And that's all from me back in the studio, but we're going to Suzanne now, who's in Liverpool, ahead of tonight's decision about the City of Culture. Not long to go until the decision is announced, Suze. Is there a sense of anticipation in the air?
Well, I'm not sure about in the air. There is anticipation, but there are a fair few butterflies in tummies tonight. And as a born and bred Brummie, that includes mine too, that's for sure. But why should Birmingham win? Well, Ben Godfrey's been looking at what culture the city has to offer.
From a hole in the ground to this, a new cultural corridor linking Birmingham's new library with the Rep Theatre. I'm on a tour with Ros Robbins from the Arts Council, looking for the city's cultural gems.
I mean, it's over 100 million investment in the new library. I mean, given the sort of economic challenges that we're all facing, that's a very brave and ambitious investment to make.
Ambition that brought Princess Margaret here in 1990 on the opening night of the Birmingham Royal Ballet. It was an extraordinary moment, dance culture alive in the second city. The Symphony Hall opened a year later, boasting some of the world's finest acoustics. And in Digbeth, the custard factory welcomed artists searching for a natural home, which now flourishes 2 decades on.
And every week, the energy of this space seems to spawn a new business, a new company being set up. So a really exciting space.
Here in the new Zelig complex, new talent is hanging out.
This is an amazing image. For me, it almost quintessentially represents the UK.
This exhibition, called Protest, has been curated by young people, an expression of rebellion, of human rights, of optimism.
And it's fundamentally important that we have our next wave of entrepreneurs and young people at the heart of our bid, and that's what we've done. We've actually used the bid, used young people as intelligence to actually gather new ways of working.
Birmingham's success may come from a reinvention of artistic enterprise, of challenging a stereotype of a city based in industry with little clue about culture. Our next stop's a case in point. MAC, the Midlands Arts Centre, has recently undergone a £15 million facelift.
It reopened, as I said, at the beginning of May. Since then, 250,000 visitors have come through it. I mean, that's a phenomenal statistic, really.
From photography to South Asian music, from minor works of art to bold, brash, sheer sauciness, its appeal is wide and talked about. MAC's chief executive believes Birmingham's on the verge of cultural greatness.
It's just poised to make that next step, and that's why the City of Culture accolade, the mantle, whatever you want to describe it as, that's why it's so important, because Birmingham can show what can be achieved.
4 million people visit Birmingham's arts attractions each year. There's the likes of the Electric, the UK's oldest working cinema, Tyndall Street Press Publishers, 3 recent Booker Prize nominations there. Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery, of course, elevated to cultural treasure through the famous Staffordshire Hoard.
There is still a real challenge in terms of changing the identity and the profile of the city nationally and internationally, and City of Culture would be a great opportunity to do that.
With future funding for arts organisations in some doubt, the 20,000 people employed in the city's cultural industries are quietly hopeful of recognition. City of Culture status would do very nicely, thank you. Ben Godfrey, BBC Midlands Today, Birmingham.
Well, we've got the rain here now in Liverpool, but it's still lovely. If you're sceptical, though, that being City of Culture really is the big deal everyone is making out, then let me introduce you to Claire McCoggan, Director of Culture for Liverpool. Thanks for joining us here on Midlands Today. Lovely weather in your city tonight.
It never rains normally in Liverpool.
Of course not. Well, tell me how winning a very similar title to the one Birmingham's going for transformed Liverpool's fortunes.
Well, if you just look round the pier head, for example, you know, you can just see the amount of physical regeneration that's happened in the city, a huge amount of physical regeneration, which happened much quicker because of European Capital of Culture. The whole city got behind it, the city worked together to kind of deliver it, and it was a real kind of energy it gave to the city to get things done.
And what do you think Birmingham could get from that? Do you think they could just get as much out of it as you got?
Yeah, I think so. I think what the title gives you is an opportunity to all work together. So, you know, we went through ups and downs on the way, but at the end of the day, the whole city came together to deliver 2008, and it was just, you know, the effect of it in terms of the confidence of people of the city was just incredible, because Liverpool has regained their confidence, and that's exactly what you want from something like a capital culture title.
Certainly is. Fingers crossed for us. Thanks very much
good luck.
indeed.
Good luck.
Thank you, Claire. We appreciate that. Well, Birmingham is getting very excited, as well as our team here as well. Tension is mounting in the city centre, and Mary Rose is there for us now with members of the bid team. So, Mary, are they feeling confident?
Confident? I'm not sure about that, Suzanne. A few sweaty palms, I think it's fair to say, as we're only about half an hour away from the announcement now. I'm joined by two members from the Birmingham bid team. First of all, Councillor Martin Blaney, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Cautiously optimistic, is that a fair assessment?
Well, I mean, I know we've put a really strong bid in. It's in the hands of the judges. We've just got to wait and see what they say.
Yes, you can do no more now. It's only half an hour until we find out. Why should Birmingham win? What's the main point, do you think, that sets Birmingham's bid apart?
Well, there's a number of aspects, though. One is we've got fantastic cultural offer here, got fantastic facilities here. That's CBSO, the Symphony Hall and the Royal Ballet Company, the Hippodrome here. But we've got one of the lowest participation rates for residents in art and culture of any major city in Britain. So we want to use the buzz of that year, if we win it, to get our residents more involved in art and culture.
Amo Talwar, you're very involved in the music scene here. You're part of the bid team as well.
Yeah.
How are you going to get more young people involved in the arts and culture? Because that's something that you're particularly passionate about.
Sure. Well, I think if we were to get the City of Culture, we would use the badge as a catalyst to really get young entrepreneurs and really look at the sector as a whole. Our creative industry sector is bigger than our construction sector, so it's really about making sure that people understand the value of culture, not just in monetary terms but in intrinsic terms.
So do you think if Birmingham were to become the City of Culture, this could actually lead to jobs for young people in the arts and culture?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know, Martin could talk a little bit more about the figures, but in terms of young people coming through, the future leaders, it's really important to create, the spark, and this is exactly what they do.
Martin, we've heard earlier on from some of your colleagues that we know Birmingham already has quite a thriving arts scene.
Yeah.
Why does it need this title?
Well, because the nation still has this outdated image of Birmingham as a 1960s concrete city centre with pedestrians in subways. And you and I know that in the last 20 years, Birmingham has reinvented itself. It's now got a city centre of public squares. We've got a cultural activity going across the whole year. We've moved on. We want the rest of the nation to move on with us. Also, we are the face of future cities in Britain. We've got diverse communities here. We're moving away from manufacturing into the creative industry, as Amo has just said. So we are the future.
Okay.
And also,
very briefly.
Yeah, sure. Young people are at the heart of the bid, so we know we're there.
Okay, well, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for joining me. There is optimism around Birmingham. As the Hippodrome, the theatre is filling up this evening for the performance of The Sound of Music. Well, we'll wait to see if these hills are going to be alive with the sound of victory in about half an hour.
Let's hope so. Thanks, Mary. Well, our arts reporter, Lindsay Doyle, is inside the Mersey Ferry building behind me, where in just a few minutes' time, we'll all be put out of our misery as the announcement will be made. So, Lindsay, what's your feeling?
The atmosphere here, Suzanne, is so tense you wouldn't believe it. Of course, it's not just Birmingham that wants to win, it's all four cities. I've been talking to all four. It's an accolade everybody wants. Liverpool, of course, is my hometown, and I can vouch for a revitalised city because of the capital of culture. This is something that City of Culture will bring to Birmingham should we win. Well, the Culture Minister's here, Phil Redmond's here. The announcement is seriously minutes away, so stay tuned on BBC1 for the announcement in about 10 to 15 minutes time.
Well, thanks, Lindsay. I can feel the butterflies already, I have to say. A reminder, we're up against Derry, Norwich and Sheffield. Can we win it? Well, we'll soon find out. Should we win it? Of course we should. Whatever happens, I'll be back in our late news live from Liverpool with reaction to the result. Until then, from everyone in Liverpool and Nick and the team in Birmingham, good night and fingers crossed.